Haunted History with Burns of Down Paranormal in association with HauntedSolutions.com.
You're listening to The Crypt, and joining me for this month's Haunted History is Anne Burns of Down Paranormal. So you're very welcome to the show, Anne.
Hi Rita, thanks very much.
Well, this month we are going to talk about Niddry Vaults. So can you tell us a bit about what they are and where they are situated?
Right, well, Niddry Vaults, they're in Edinburgh, and they're built under what is called the South Bridge, and it would be off the Royal Mile, which is the sort of it would have been the main route through Edinburgh and the old town of Edinburgh, and it actually runs downhill, and it's between Edinburgh Castle and Holyrood Palace, so it's the main sort of thoroughfare of the old town of Edinburgh. And
when were these vaults built? There's a series of chambers, is it?
It is, yes. It's actually, as I say, built under what's known as the South Bridge, and it was built in 1788. And it's a series of levels of vaulted rooms. Now, some of the rooms, the sizes differ. Some of the rooms are quite small, and then it opens out into very large rooms. So it was basically somewhere that we just built to accommodate tradesmen and things like that. I suppose trying to use as much of the space that they had, under the arches of this bridge. So that's how it came about.
And Burke and Hare are linked to the vaults, so can you tell me a bit about who they are?
Yeah, well, Burke and Hare are actually two Irishmen from Northern Ireland, and one was from Strabane, and another one is from not very far from where I am now, up in outside Newry towards Point Pass direction. And William was from Strabane, William Burke, and William Hare was from Point Pass. The two Irish immigrants, they went over to Edinburgh to basically earn money, make a living. And they got into the body snatching business because there was a lot of money in it. In those days, obviously, medical schools and things like that, as the same as is today, they used dead bodies or cadavers to do their work on and to learn and to practice. And they realised that there was a lot of money to be made, and the fresher the bodies were, the more money they got for them. If they got bodies of young women, they were worth more, and children and things like that. So they realised very, very quickly that there was a lot of money. They were getting about £7 per body, which in those days was an absolute fortune. So they made a lot of money very quickly. Because of where the vaults were situated, it started off as premises for tradesmen like cobblers, farriers. There was taverns. They stored merchandise, but very, very quickly, the place became like a slum. There was a lot of brothels. The taverns were still there. The tradesmen moved out, and the sort of very poor of Edinburgh moved back in and lived in these vaults that had no light. They were very damp. They often flooded because the bridge hadn't been waterproofed. It was above them. It wasn't waterproofed properly. Mm-hmm. So it was a natural hunting ground for the like of Burke and Hare. The crime rate in it was terrible. It was hell on earth, really. And they would, if somebody went missing, if a child went missing, or a person that was found dead, or whatever, it was part of life down there, and it didn't really matter. So it is said that they would have frequented that area because of it being a slum, and they would have most definitely probably hunted for victims there. And it's said that they actually stored some of the bodies there before they were taken off to Mr. Knox, who was the head of the Royal College of Surgeons, and he was the man that was buying the bodies off them.
Oh my God. And when did the vaults cease being used then, and how did they rediscover them?
Well, the vaults, as I say, were deteriorated very, very rapidly. And the flooding and all the rest of it. There was no sanitation. It was just, an awful, awful place. So they don't know an exact date, but some people say anywhere between 1835 up until 1875. But in and around that time, by the beginning of the 1900s, it had been closed up and was not used. So the tunnels were actually rediscovered back in 1985, and it was a man called Niddry Vaults, and he was a Scottish rugby international, and it said that he found a tunnelway that led to these vaults. And in 1990, he went with his son, and the two of them started to excavate the tunnels. And they removed tons and tons of rubble, and whilst doing that, they found a lot of artifacts. That they then realised that somebody was, there were people living here. This was a residence to lots of families. There was a lot of oyster shells, which would have been a staple diet for very poor at that time. Old shoes, toys, broken medicine bottles, things like that. So, so it was in the 1990s that they actually excavated, got in, and realised that the tunnels were there because they'd just been completely forgotten.
And what paranormal activity has been reported there?
Well, after the opening of the vaults in the 1990s, there's a lot of interest in them, obviously, because everybody has forgotten about them. The likes of Most Haunted and Ghost Adventures, they have all filmed in the vault. And there's a lot of poltergeist activity that's been reported. Now, there's tours that you can go on. You can go and actually have a tour around these vaults. And a lot of the activity is from from people that have been on the tours, the tour guides, and the people that are working on them, and going on these tours. So, there's been children crying is another experience there, and a young girl, she's seen very frequently. Also, a small boy called Jack. I think his name is Jack. Mm-hmm. And he actually follows the tour guides about. A lot of it is voices talking, so people will hear people talking when there's nobody else there. Because access to this place is very, very limited. You can't just go in and out. It's very limited, And one of the more famous ghosts or spirits is a gentleman called Boots. Now, he's a very, very aggressive man, especially towards females. He's been known to nudge and push people, women over.
Genie.
And he's been heard swearing. They've heard him swearing and being very, coming out with a lot of profanity. And then you hear the footsteps, which are very, very heavy footsteps. I take it that's why they called them Boots. Now, one of the vaults, there's a circle of stones that are in the floor of the vault, and it's thought to be this is a witch's circle. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but apparently it's still in use today by some modern witches' covens and things like that. So it'll be quite interesting to, to have a look at them and try and find out a little bit more about that, because that's quite an unusual thing,
Do you think would you ever get the opportunity to investigate the vaults?
Yes, well, actually, we're going in October.
Oh, no way.
Here. And, a group from Belfast called Belfast Paranormal Investigators, they were over in Edinburgh very recently, and we've actually been given the permission to go in and do a proper investigation. So there's members from 6 teams in the north of Ireland here, including myself, and we'll be doing a full night's investigation in the vault on our own, so it's going to be great fun. So really looking forward to that. So I'll be able to let you know how we get on and what we find out.
Oh, that'll be fantastic. You'll definitely have to come back on. And anybody who wants to keep up with all things Down Paranormal, you can follow Down Paranormal Research on Facebook, because they always put up evidence, photographs, everything you gather goes up on that page. Isn't that right, Anne?
That's right, it does indeed. All our videos, photographs, any evidence, just any information on places, and just all things paranormal. If you just go on there, you'll hopefully find an enjoyable page, but all our info's on there.
Fantastic. Well, Anne, thank you so much for another great haunted history, and I look forward to next month's location.
That's great, Rita. Thank you very much.
Haunted History with Anne Burns of Down Paranormal in association with HauntedSolutions.com.